Brock. It sounds like an action figure name. It sounds like a movie star name. Where does Brock come from? What's the story that you've heard from your parents about that?
The story my parents have told me is whenever my mom was pregnant with me, they were sitting on the couch watching some football, and it was the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, I believe, was Brock. It was Brock something, and I think they both agreed on that
one. What's your favorite route to throw?
I like just the 10-yard speed out because, it has to be on the money or else it's going to be a pick six.
Your first play ever, first throw ever, you were a jet sweep wide receiver. Why? That's a story you will always tell. And just kind of take me through even looking back on it now, what was that like for you?
Just playing receiver my freshman year was new to me. It was my first year ever. I think I went through that summer training as a receiver, and I didn't think I could do it. And then I was like, I want to get on the field. We had a senior quarterback that year, and I said, I guess this is the only spot I'm going to get on. So trained my butt off, tried to be a receiver, and then it just so happened I got to be a little quarterback for one of the first plays at receiver.
How many passes did you throw your freshman year? Was it just that one?
No, sir. I got in some blowouts later as a quarterback.
Your adversity this year, I think you had mono, lost some weight. I think you came back, played 2 games, got hurt. Take me through the injury, the recovery, and then coming back. And I think you had a very productive 8-game season.
Yes, sir. Well, I was fishing in July, and we were all nighter. We were running poles in the rivers and stuff, and then I didn't feel good, so we went to the doctor, and they said I had mono or whatever, and so I kind of just laid in bed for about 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, I started getting up. I said, I can't do this anymore, so I was moving around and hopped on the scale here in the training room, and I had lost 20 pounds, and I was like, well, crap, we got a ways to go. So started eating a lot, getting back on it, and then everything was good. Then the third play, the third game, I felt my ankle snap, and it was not a good feeling. But we finished out that game. It was a tough loss, and then we did go on to win a few more games after that. And the backup quarterback did a great job while I was out, and just he kept the team intact, which was the main thing. And then when I got back, it was like I had never left. Oh yes, sir, fibula. Yep.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Did you tell your dad? Did you tell him how bad it hurt? Were you like a stick figure in the pocket then? Or scale of 1 to 10, what was that pain like?
It was like probably 8 or 9. I wasn't running on the field. It was more like a little like hobble. But people ask me that all the time, like, why'd you stay in? Why didn't your dad take you out? And it's one of those things, like, neither of us, like, we both knew it was broken, and neither of us even said a word about it. Like, it was almost like there wasn't even a question, like, because it was the Wesleyan, who team ended up being in the state championship. Like, we knew we had to win that game, and we were up 14-7 going into half, and just we would deal with it after the game was how we were going to deal with it.
So I know this is tough man football stuff, but does a trainer sit there and go, or do you like say, get away from me, my leg's fine?
Well, right when it happened, I came off it happened the third play of the drive, like on our 30. We drove the whole field. We drove to their 30, and the last play, our tight end slips out on a go. Perfect ball, perfect catch, touchdown. I walk off the field, the trainer, he just tapes me up like so tight, and then at halftime he took off my sock and everything, and just a look on his face, I was like, I know, but we just had to keep going.
So it happened on third play?
Yes, sir.
So the rest of that game, you have the worst plant foot mechanics. Was it where was it? Your leg or plant leg?
It was my left leg, my plant leg. So you're going to see a lot of throws if you watch that film of me just flying open. Like I was almost acting like I was standing straight, and I was just kind of like flying with it like that. I wasn't trying to put any weight on it.
That's all arm, then, right?
Yes, sir.
And your 40 at that time was probably what, 7-0 or something like that?
Couldn't even complete one.
What does that say? Did teammates know that, or did they know afterward?
Some of them, like most of the starters knew, and then some of the other guys were like, is Brock okay? And then after the game, everyone knew. I just think I had a little towel over my head and had a golf cart and went to the emergency room. But I mean, it just says like just the will to win. I mean, it's just been instilled in me from my parents since a young age, and just all the stuff I trained for. I didn't want it to just go away in one game, because we'd circle that game on the calendar. If we got through our first 3 to 5 games, we were going to have a good season, and I just felt like I was kind of letting my team down if I didn't play.
Was this one of those things where you were just going to be in pain, you weren't going to hurt it any worse, I guess, or you keep breaking it, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, we have some guys on our staff that are from like AOC, I believe, and they were like, if it's broken, they're like, which I think it is, they're like, it's not going to break anymore. And then when we ended up getting a X-ray, it was a full break, and they were like, yeah, it was like this the whole time. They were like, you haven't done anything more, and it was a high ankle sprain too, so I had to get a tightrope surgery with whenever they put in the plate and screws.
So that was what? How long were you out? 4 weeks?
Yes, sir. It was supposed to be 10 to 12 weeks, and I think I came back in 7 or 8.
How's that? What, are you a super healer bone or something? Did you drink a lot of milk or what?
Probably just the motivation, just being on that couch for 2 weeks doing nothing. That's not me. When it's a rainy day, I can't stand it because I got to get outside, I got to do stuff, and just the people I was rehabbing with at AOC. I was non-weight bearing for 4 weeks after the surgery, but they would get me out of that little boot, and we would start doing mobility stuff. So that was how I was able to come back, because whenever I was able to walk on, I didn't have to get that mobility back because it was already working to get back.
Did you come back and what, 85% or whatever? Where did you feel you were when you came back?
Yes, sir. It was probably like the first game was probably like 70. It was against one of our lesser opponents that we played, and I didn't have much moving to do, but I did slip out of the pocket one time, and my dad was like, "What the heck are you doing?" But it was good, and then probably 2 or 3 games later, I was probably back to 100%.
Quick rapid fire questions. I got to ask you about the hair. What's going on with that? I mean, is it? I've always said the mullet. Is this the Brock? I mean, last time I saw you were kind of clean shaven, man. What's going on there?
I mean, I like the hair to be out of the back of the helmet. I think that's a good look, especially as a quarterback. But the school, it's not allowed to be on your eyebrows or what's it called, ears, or the back of the collar. So I got it off my ears. Whenever I was younger, not too much younger, like just earlier this year, the main thing that me and my dad had talked about was system and fit system and stuff like that, and I would say that's not the main thing anymore. The main thing is just trying to be the best player that I can be regardless of the system, and just being like close to families has become like, it's really burst onto the scene as like important to me, and spending time in other states and stuff like that is just, it's not for me. I don't like to travel. I like to stay near home, and I want people near me to be able to come watch me, and I want stuff like that to happen.
So this is my natural human thought. I asked your dad this, and I said, okay, I'm looking at the timing, and it's January the 1st. And I'm like, did he just like sink in that, like when he had Thanksgiving, like, this is my last Thanksgiving at home, next year I'll be far away, Christmas, this is my... Was that real world stuff that a lot of future college freshmen go through, where you're just like, and did that weigh on you in terms of distance and location at all?
Yes, sir. And that was probably the main thing. I've been thinking about other options closer to home for probably 2 or 3 months, going into like December, and I prayed about it, and I talked about it with my family. But then when we were at the dinner table, every family member in Alabama, the great-grandparents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, stuff like that, and I don't know how we got to talking about it. I didn't say anything about it. I guess it's just the Lord's timing, but someone was like, "Man, Oklahoma's far away," and I was like, "It is," and I couldn't go to sleep that night. I was thinking about it, and I was like, I got to do something about this. I was like, I got to stay closer to home so that the people I love can be able to watch me, and I can still go hunt in Alabama on the weekends and stuff like that.
When was that? Was that Thanksgiving or Christmas?
It was both, but the conversation was probably Christmas.
Wow. It seems to me, just by listening to you honestly, if Norman, Oklahoma was in Alabama or South Carolina or Tennessee or Georgia, then you would have been good with Lincoln system, everything else like that. Location just was major here, right?
Yes, sir. And just with like me and my dad, we talked and stuff, and like we're kind of sacrificing the best fit for me just for some other things that are priorities now.
You've learned a lot from that, huh? I guess.
Yes, sir.
A little bit. Do you look at Georgia a little bit differently, that they're trying to move away from their normal physical pounded identity a little bit?
I mean, I think someone asked me that the other day, and would they change the offense or something? I was like, they're never going to change the offense. They have a million plays, and they only run what their players are comfortable with and what they're going to do the best with. Because, I mean, if you have the dang Darnell Washington out there, like, you're not going to have him blocking every play when he can go for 6 every other play. So, I mean, I think they're going to run with what they're comfortable with and what their players are going to do well with.
How did Georgia maybe keep the stove eye burning for you while you were at Oklahoma? Were they always like, can you just discuss how they recruited you that let you know you were still a want and need if your decision ever changed?
They would just keep texting me. Like a bunch of coaches would always text me, and I would only respond to like a few that if something crazy did happen, if Lincoln went to the NFL or something like that, or if I did happen to decommit, that I didn't want to burn any bridges. And then whenever Coach Smart came out on the helicopter, that it meant a lot, and that he was still thinking of me and stuff like that. So that was probably one of the main things.
What do you think is maybe the strongest potential pull? Or if you would choose Georgia, what do you think would be the biggest reason why?
Probably just I trust the coaches there, and I trust in the direction they're going. I want to be able to compete for national championships.